Hey y'all, we have launched our very own merch on the Letters 2 Media merch store. We have a bunch of good looking t-shirts and hoodies. If you want your own Haddonfield Horror merch, click on the link in the description.
Phase one was the hypnotism. That's how they sedate you. Phase two is this. Mental preparation. It's basically a psychological pre-op.
Pre-op.
For phase three, the transplantation. Well, partial, actually. The piece of your brain connected to your nervous system needs to stay put, keeping those intricate connections intact. So you won't be gone, not completely. A sliver of you will still be in there somewhere, limited consciousness. You'll be able to see and hear what your body is doing, but your existence will be as a passenger. An audience. You'll live in
a sunken place.
Welcome back to the Haddonfield Horrors podcast, where we review horror movies and horror franchises. I'm Mark.
I'm Tawan.
I'm Maria.
And today we're reviewing Get Out, released in 2017, directed and written by Jordan Peele. Maria, can you give the people the plot summary?
Chris and his girlfriend Rose have reached the meet the parents stage of their relationship. She invites him over for a weekend trip upstate with her parents, Missy and Dean. At first, Chris reads the family's overly accommodating behavior as nervous attempts to deal with their daughter's interracial relationship. But as the weekend progresses, a series of increasingly disturbing discoveries leads him to a truth that he never could have imagined.
So, Get Out, Jordan Peele's big directing debut. I remember when this movie came out, and I think I was telling you guys, like, I don't remember if I liked this movie or that I had just seen it so many times that it was just like seared in my brain. I do remember this being like a big like cultural phenomenon when it came out. What about you guys?
It was definitely a moment. Like I definitely remember when this came out, like the discourse around it and like how big it was, and like everyone was going to see it. Like
How the conservative racist whites were very offended.
yeah, like for people like us, like we tend to regularly see movies and things like that, but something's a moment when like your parents or somebody want to go see a movie that like, especially like an original movie like this isn't part of a franchise or anything. Like they want to go see it and check it out and stuff. So that was um that was pretty interesting to see, and just like it's just the turnout of it, especially being that Jordan Peele, like we all know, like most people know Jordan Peele from like Mad TV, Key and Peele, and like the thought of him just doing a horror movie in general was
I thought
just
this was
like
going
a
to be
thing.
satire, and I was like, "This is a Jordan Peele production. This has to be like satire. It has to be some sketch comedy thing."
Yeah, I thought the
Completely blown
same.
away.
Yeah, I thought the same, and then I saw the like initial trailer for it, and I was like, because I didn't honestly I didn't know Jordan Peele's first name. I just knew Key and Peele, but when I actually looked into it, I was like,
Same.
that's Jordan Peele, like that dude. I was like, okay, and then like all the reviews came out, and like people were saying it was like good, like really good, and I was like, I was very interested after that, and then I eventually saw it and like really liked it.
My first impressions were kind of clouded because at the time I was in a relationship with a half white, half Hispanic Trump supporting man. And when we saw the first trailer, because the trailer came out when what Rings? You guys remember Rings, like the third Ring movie, which was
Ooh,
horrible.
I didn't watch it, but I remember that.
Yeah, we went to go see Rings with a group of friends, and the trailer came out for Get Out, and he was like, "Oh, so this is just like an anti-white person movie." Wow. And Trump's America. So that's all I kept on hearing. So I was just like, it's gonna be one of
Oh
those movies. It's
god.
gonna be one of
That's
those movies.
crazy.
And so then when I finally watched the movie, I was like, oh, okay, this is not what I thought it was gonna be. I was letting all his negativity cloud my like my expectations of the movie. And then I was like, oh, this is Jordan Peele from King and Peele. It can't be like it won't be deep. And then I was like, oh shit, I'm glad I was proven completely wrong because this is fucking great. And it was an original movie idea. Like, how often do we get those anymore? What about you, Maria?
Yeah, I mean, I do. I remember when it first came out, and like, yeah, because I knew Jordan Peele from Key and Peele, and I knew him as like a comedic, and I didn't honestly when I first because I did go watch it in theaters because I was really curious to see what a movie made by Jordan Peele would look like. And yeah, I was definitely not disappointed. Yeah, and it was very clearly like an original idea and it shows, and I feel like I don't know, I loved the movie when I first saw it. I was like, this is crazy. Definitely did not take the turn that I thought it was going to when I first saw it, and I really liked it, honestly.
Yeah, I worked at a movie theater when this came out. That's why I saw it so many times because it was on like the free movie list. So I kind of like went, and I was able to take like guests to go watch movies with me for free, like one or two at a time. So I went like several times back to back to take like groups of two to go watch it with me. And because I have a wide range of friends, white, black, Hispanic, or like Asian, I got to see like different reactions. And the white people I took to go watch it with me, they went from like interest to like fear to like guilt, and they're like, "Oh my god, do I do that? Do I say like inappropriate, stupid things like that come off as racist?" I'm like, if you have to ask, you probably do. I'm so sorry.
Oh my god.
That's just how that works. But oh shit, did my headphones die? They disconnected. Don't do that ever again. Hello.
We can still hear
Yes.
you.
Okay, they went back. And then overall, I think this was a good. It was a good like because now when we hear a Jordan Peele production, it's like oh it's gonna be good. It's gonna be scary. He has had some misses. Candyman, 2020. But other than that, it's been pretty passable. Nope
Well,
is
he didn't
good.
direct that, but
Yeah, I
I
know
will say though,
he probably should. He probably
yeah,
should.
it was okay. It was okay at best. It was like a good five.
I mean, because he went from being Jordan Peele of Key and Peele, the comedy guy, to being Jordan Peele, the next like up and coming horror king. It's like he did this, he did Nope, he's producing Candyman, he's the third reboot of Twilight Zone. It's like this one movie like kicked off a new era for him, which I this is a good movie. It still shocked people. And like in preparation for this, I also watched like a bunch of like YouTubers like reaction videos, and
Mhm.
I purposely was looking at like white people watching it for the first time, and they were also going through like the whole, oh my god, these are the white folks I hate, or oh my god, they're making us look bad. Oh my god, do we do things like this? Do we make inappropriate comments like this? And it's like, oh my god.
Mhm.
The funniest one yet was with an interracial couple, a black guy and his white girlfriend, and I was like,
It definitely started like a thing for sure. Like anytime you see it, it is always like any couple like that, like black guy, white girl. It's always in the
or
comments. Get
or
out.
just like the memes that comes from it, or just like the reference, like when black people see like another black person doing some very like non-black things, or
They
being
like this
like
motherfucker in the
too
second place.
being in a sunken place, like it's like I just told I was just reading an article and I'm like this is some sunken place shit because there ain't no way a black person would do this. He did what? So it's just like
Yeah.
this movie did have like a good impact. But Maria, what were some scenes that stood out for you? Good, bad, or indifferent?
I think um I mean, the opening for one was like crazy because you literally this guy's just walking the neighborhood, and then I love the whole him saying that he doesn't feel safe in the suburbs because I mean,
I mean, out here in this creepy, confusing ass suburb.
I mean it's the suburbs. We know how it is sometimes, but like, and then he just gets kidnapped, and then the movie starts. I don't know, like that really. I don't know. I thought it was a great opening because you're just like, what the fuck is going on? Um, and I think the scene where with I think her name was Georgina. I think any scene with her, I think, was also
Hmm.
pretty good because you can see something's wrong, like something's wrong, but you just don't know what it is, and she just
Yeah.
looks like she's like struggling, and she just looks like she's like having a lot of moments, and you just don't know like what's going on really, um, and then the scene I
The
think where
grandparents gave something away. Like they were acting weird. Like if you're trying to sell a story, like act kind of normal.
I think like with the grandparents and with Georgina, and I forgot what the guy's name was. I think with them, since they were technically the guinea pigs, because I'm assuming that they had started it, um, that because they were the guinea pigs, that they probably didn't do it right, or maybe there were still like a lot. Maybe they had left a lot of like Georgina and the other guy in their
They hadn't
brains.
perfected it yet, pretty
Yeah,
much.
yeah. So that I guess they were able to fight back a little bit more, but not enough. So I think that's what was going on. I think Georgina was fighting a really hard fight in her brain for with the grandmother, and that's why she was acting very like weird. Um, which is sad. I don't know. When I think about it, it's just so sad.
I don't know. I kind of thought the opposite, not fully of that. At least to me, I think because they were old, they just their brains are still kind of old, so they just put them into these young bodies, and they were just acting like old people.
That could also be true.
But in that one mirror scene where she's like brushing her hair and looking at herself, I can see where because I guess like as an old person and suddenly I'm young, I guess I would be looking at myself like that. But another scene is um when they were like at the party and then Chris tries to take a picture of the other, of the other black guy there, and then like the flash goes off, and you just see the change in his face, and his nose starts bleeding, and then he starts yelling like "Get out!" That scene I thought was really cool too. And then and then just like the last 20 minutes, which is where all the kills happen. And especially with I forgot what his name was, but like the grandpa, when he kind of like takes control of his body, and then he like shoots Rose and like shoots himself. I don't know, I thought that scene was like Jesus Christ. I don't know, but I those were the scenes that I thought were great.
For me, I think it's definitely the scene with Georgina where she's just saying,
Oh, no. 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 No, 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 no.
that's like the first hint of like something ain't right here. Like something's definitely wrong with this lady. And in the other scene, any any scenes with his friend, what's his friend's name? Ah, fuck, I forgot his friend's name. Do you remember his friend's name? Rod.
Rod.
Any scenes with Rod are just like those are like the comedy breaks that you need in an intense movie, and I appreciate, especially the end when he was like,
I'm TS motherfucking A. We handle shit. That's what we do.
that's one of my favorite scenes. Like, and then the scene with the cop when you watch it back, you think, oh, she's sticking up for her man, but it's like no. If he gives the cop his ID, then there's like proof and there's a record of him being there with her. So she's not sticking up for her man. She's trying to keep any like traces of him being there from like the public, from the system. And it's like the small things like that which make me like love this movie on rewatch. But what about you, Tuan? Any scenes that stood out for you?
Yeah, scenes that stood out for me definitely was the initial like hypnosis scene where we see the sunken place for the first time, especially like on the first watch when Rose's mom just tells Chris to sink, and like the way the audio mixes when she says sink, but also like him actually going into the chair and you see the actual like sunken place for the first time.
Into the floor.
Wait.
Sink.
That was a crazy scene to like watch on like first time viewing, and just how that came across and how it actually did like work. Because he said like the next day that the idea of him like smoking a cigarette like disgusted him, and also like the context of it as well, like they didn't want him to like smoke so that the body would be better for whoever would eventually like take over it. So that was interesting. But also another scene that I did like, which just because even though it was short, just because how crazy she looked in the scene, was when Rose was sitting on the bed eating those Fruit Loops next to this fucking milk, like separately. That I know, like Jordan Peele said, like he didn't do that purposely to like show like colors being separated from whites, but
But that's
it's
exactly what it gives. Like
yeah. But also, she looks fucking deranged just eating the cereal like that either way. So that's funny. And then
that's the worst crime in the whole movie. Because bitch, what are you doing?
no, actually though. And then second to that was when Chris is like actively trying to leave the house, and then he's like, where are the keys? And like the way the actress just switches up from like, I'm looking, and she's like, I can't give you the keys. Like that the theater experience for that is like for people first time watching it was always funny. Like it
He
was a
was like, we
collective.
knew that bitch was in on it.
No, literally, it was like a collective, like bitch, like it was like a collective like that. Like I love good theater experiences for like movies, as long as it ain't going
Horror
crazy.
movies
But
are the best. You know, they give you get the real reaction, especially if it's like black people in there too. It's like, okay, give me what I want, please.
yeah, so those I would think those ones were probably my favorites that I still remember, especially like the keys. Like that was crazy. And then the actress, she sold the fuck out of that switch up.
The only scene I didn't like was the ending scene with the shotguns because she was just saying grandma with like no emotion. The bitch went blank and then she's like, go get him, grandpa. I'm like, okay, uh, give me something. You just walked past several dead family members and your house is on fire. You should be like, go get him, grandma, go get him, grandpa. There wasn't, I don't know, it should have been something. It was just like bland and stale.
I mean, I feel like her whole family was weird, and honestly, I think she was the weirdest for someone who can like be in multiple relationships with people for months, years, I don't know how long, and like, and then to know that she's gonna bring them home for them to die. I don't know. Like, I mean, she definitely doesn't give a fuck about nobody. I don't know. Does not
And
care.
she's
Give a
having
fuck.
like she's with men, she's with women. She doesn't care about. She's just grabbing people.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
you're
think
right.
like
She was the
yeah,
weirdest.
when when Chris was on, like waiting for them to prepare him, she was literally on her bed doing that weird serial thing, and she was like scrolling to find her next victim. Like, like it was. I don't know. It was just weird.
So, Twan, were any kills that stood out for you? Good, bad, and different.
Um, I think the best one to me was when he killed Missy, the mom, because he took that damn letter opener straight through his hand with no reaction and stabbed her ass with it. I was like, that's some G shit.
That's the only time I like. I was like squeamish in my seat. I was like, oh shit.
Yes, I honestly I do like I don't know why like those type of like things that always like gets me like it's even like in Scream 5 when like Tara in the beginning when she got stabbed right through the hand. I was like, oh fuck, bro, like that shit always looks brutal to me. I don't know why. And then he like turned it around and like stabbed her with it, and so that was a good one. And also like killing the dad with the head of the deer, that was just like something different.
What about you, Maria? Any kills stood out?
Yeah, I think um I forgot what his name was. Was it Gerald? The grandpa? Um his
Walter.
kill. Walter, yes. I don't Yes, Walter. His kill I thought was like I don't know, cause he like came back and then he shot Rose and then like just turns the gun on himself like it was nothing. I don't know. I thought that scene. I think like because it happened so fast, like you kind of just hoped that he comes back and is maybe able to take control of like his brain because he kind of like got out of it. But like in his mind, the only his only choice was to kill himself and um whatever and the grandfather. So I feel like I don't know. I feel like his kill was a little more impactful. Because I don't know. I thought it was crazy. Um, and I also will agree. Like Georgina's kill was also pretty good. Cause yeah, the whole like she stabbed him through the hand and he just took it and then he like killed her. Which I mean, you don't really see like where he stabbed her, but you see it was somewhere in the face. So I'm not saying she deserved it, but she kind of deserved it. Um, and then I think Dean's kill, I think was a little like I thought it was kind of funny because he literally like stabs him with the deer head thing, um, and it's just I don't know. I feel like it was an unexpected weapon. I would not have thought of that, um, and yeah,
Hmm.
My favorite, or the kill that stood out for me, had to be the mom, because that whole like sequence leading before she dies was just like intense. Because when they both look at the teacup, and it's like, damn, if she gets this cup, he's fucked. And then he knocks out the hand, and then I just okay, cool, cool. Like before he kills it, that like 5 minutes before is like an intense build up, which makes that kill scene satisfying. My favorite kill though is when he kills Jeremy and kills the brother because he was annoying me from the moment he
Oh yeah,
stepped his ass in the house. Like from his introduction, I hated him, and when he finally bashed his head in by the door, I was like, yes. And I do agree with you, Maria. Walter's death was definitely hits hard because he made a decision because we never know if they're like if they can fully come back because that's not their brain and their body anymore. So they probably can never fully have full control. And I wouldn't want to be surrounded by like strobe lights all the fucking time just to be conscious. Like that's not a way to live. So that one was hard. The kill scene I don't like was the blind man because he just died in the fire once his brain was removed, or whatever. So that was kind of like anticlimactic. Yeah, but then another point I want to bring up was so the whole like the family who does the procedure, they're all dead. But then we saw several black people's photos with the daughter who were just like living out there with these people trapped in their body. Like that's fucked up
definitely is.
because no one's ever gonna believe them about the whole brain switching thing.
Like this is definitely one of those movies where I would like to see what happened after.
Yeah, because it's like what happened to the other people? What happened to Andre? What happened to everyone else who just they're just stuck? But also a scene I forgot to mention that stood out for me because it was just like y'all really aren't being like subtle. Was when they were all like coming up to him and talking to him at the party, and that one lady is like,
So, is it true? Is it better?
Wow, wow.
"Bitch, excuse me, back up." Like, what the fuck? So it's just like it's in. I like this movie because it's things like that like you definitely get. People definitely say to you, and they don't know how offensive it is because when I was single and on the dating scene, and I would occasionally pop onto Grinder, the
Oh
first thing
Lord.
people would say was like, "So you got BBC? Excuse me."
Oh my god. Oh my god. The amount of times I put that shit in my dating profile. I was like, my shit small, don't ask me.
It's like I'm not saying I'm not, but like that's the first thing you want to say to me. It's not hello, how are you? You know, they just well you black, so you got to be thick or have a big dick, or you got both, and it's like this is disrespectful. Don't just like, don't do that, please. Give me something. Give me some. I got personality too. I got a big brain. Can I put that? A big black brain. BBB. That's what I
I'm
got.
dead.
What's up? That's what, because that whole scene, I was like, huh. And then people like touching the muscles. I'm like, why are people? I'm just like, similar things that happen. Like, I'm pretty sure if he had an afro, someone would have touched his hair. So it's like
Oh
little
yeah.
things like that. That's just like back the fuck up. And of everyone's motives, the blind guy, he didn't care that he didn't care that Chris was black. He just wanted his talent, his good like his artful eye, which is still fucked up, but it's less racist. He was just jealous because he was blind. But other than that, Tuan, can you give the people? Wait, nope, nope. I'm skipping all the way to the end. Oh shit! What am I doing? Maria, what are your thoughts on the grandparents?
I mean, honestly, I feel like out of everything, they're the ones that made the movie like actually creepy and like scary. Cause like sure, like these white people are acting weird, and you're like something's up. But I also feel like Jordan did a really good job of like of man, I don't know what I'm trying to say. Cause it's like, yeah, cause it's like it's I feel like it's situations that people have been in, you know? So you just think like, these white people, like you just would never think that something weirder is going on than like what's really happening. I feel like Georgina and Walter really made you think like, maybe it's not just racist white people doing weird racist white people things. It's really like they're like a family doing something that's really fucked up. And I feel like Georgina and Walter did like were like really great of pointing that out, especially like Georgina, especially in that whole no 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 scene where she starts crying, and like the scenes where she's just like standing and she's just like staring off, or um and then like Walter also saying weird things. That one scene where he's just running, which I get. I mean, you're old, you're putting a new body, you want to run, but I don't know, like
I mean,
they
well,
were
with Walter,
creepy.
it was more because with Walter, he was running because he never got a chance to be a part in the Olympics because the black guy beat him out.
Oh yeah, yeah, they did say that. I forgot about that. Um, but yeah, I mean, they were creepy. They were creepy people.
What about you, Tuan?
Yeah, I will agree with Maria that they did definitely like up like the creep factor, especially Georgina. Um the actors that portrayed her did like a really good job in like selling that obviously something here is wrong. We don't know what it is just yet, but we should definitely be on high alert, which Chris was throughout the movie, and she definitely like sold that like feeling of uneasiness, especially telling him um like that scene that Mark mentioned when she was like saying like no 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 no, like that was like really crazy. Like her delivery of that, and then like just that scene of Walter like running, yeah, in the back of the house, which yeah makes sense when you think he lost out to Jesse Owens, in the Olympics. So that makes like so much sense that he was doing that, trying to like see if he could either like time himself and he was doing better now because he's in like a black body, I guess, compared to like his own or something like that, or just seeing like how he could do better. And also the scene where like Chris like talked to him, like I think it was like the morning after he had been hypnotized, and he was describing Rose and talking about how she's like a catch and everything. It just came off like very weird. Like
One of a kind, top of the line, a real doggone keeper.
he was trying to like be like, I guess, hip with Chris, but like it wasn't coming off like how an actual like probably like black person would be. Like it was really like white person inside of a black person pretending to be black.
Yeah, the grandparents, they definitely, it's like the grandparents is what made you question, like, okay, some shit ain't right with this whole setup. It seems too perfect, and Walter and Georgina are definitely the outliers. Like something's not right with them. Something has to be wrong with the entire family. Is the vibes they give you. But Tawan, what are your thoughts on Jeremy?
Oh my god, I hated Jeremy so much in this movie. Like he was annoying in the first scene that he like popped in when when he was like trying to act like Chris about like MMA fighting and stuff, and then like wanted to like fake like battle him and stuff. It was coming off so weird. Like even before we had got like to the ending of the movie, no one was on. Like he didn't even up the creep factor. He was just being like weird. Like he was like it was the first time he was interacting with like a black person or something and just trying to like one up them somehow, and it it didn't come off right. Like even if this wasn't the situation that was in like Get Out, where they were like kidnapping black people and like taking them for their bodies. This was just like a regular like family dynamic. That gotta be weird as fuck, and I wouldn't want to interact with him. And I would literally never want to go to any family events where her brother would be there because he just gave off like those vibes that of a person that I wouldn't like. And I was glad Chris stumped his ass out at the end of the movie.
Yeah, I didn't like Jeremy at all. Like he was obnoxious and annoying. It's like his dad said, you are being aggressive with the first guy. You know we need these bodies to be in tip top shape. This is the family business, and you out here fucking up the merchandise, which which is what the point of the movie was. But like you fucking shit up. What about you, Maria? What are your thoughts on Jeremy?
Yeah, I mean, I should have said this for my favorite kill, but actually his kill I thought was also really good, because that shit was brutal. That shit was violent. Like out of all the kills, I think his kill was like fucking. It was definitely personal, but honestly, I thought Jeremy was a little shit. Like that's kind of like what I got from him. He was just a little bitch. He definitely did not like him. I thought he was really annoying. And yeah, he was just kind of weird throughout the whole movie. Like not even like creepy weird the way the grandparents were, but just weird. Just like there's something like I don't know. He was just weird. Um yeah, it was weird that like he wanted to fight, Chris as soon as he saw him, because yeah, he probably wanted to see like who was stronger, and then the whole talking about his body, like come on. I don't know. He was just weird. I agree with Tawan. If there were a normal family and like I was invited to an outing and I knew he was gonna go, I would probably not go. I'd probably be like, you know what, I'm gonna stay home. It's fine. It's cool. Um, like, or if I was there, I'd probably avoid the man just because he creeps me out.
He's definitely that one family member that you never want to be around. But
Dead ass.
what about who is this? I didn't put somebody. I don't know who the fuck this is. Who is this? Oh, now I want to talk about Jim, the blind art dealer. Now, initially, I was like, oh, he's like one person who wasn't saying some stupid racist microaggression to him. He might be like the cool part, like one of the cool part people of this like whole group, and then we see him buy him at the auction, and then he's like, "Oh, I don't care that you're black. I just want your talent. I want your eyes." But I was like, what if you get this body, but you still don't have that same like thing that Chris has that makes him good at his art? Like you could have done all this for no fucking reason. And I was like, he was like, I don't know, appropriating Chris's talent made me hate him. But what about you, Tuan? What'd you think about Jim, the art dealer?
Yeah, I definitely got kind of that like vibe that you were portraying. Like, out of everybody that we saw at that little party, he seemed the most normal and actually had a conversation with Chris. And then, yeah, once we get to it, we see that he was the one that wanted him for his own like reasonings and such. And it kind of just reminds you of it kind of reminded me of when like Django, how they had like the buck fighters or like the black men who were like fighting for them, and like they didn't really care about them because they were like they still didn't care about them because they were black, but because they were able to like get them money by like being like good fighters, they were they were like on the little a little upper than the other like slaves, I guess you could say. And it's kind of the same thing. Like he like while he agrees that Chris had a good talent, like he wanted to use that for himself so that he could up himself in whatever endeavors he chose to do once he actually was in like Chris's body, which was interesting. But like still, like everyone else, at the end of the day, he was like taking like a black man of like their independence and trying to use it for himself.
Very true. Maria, what are your thoughts on Dean Armitage, Rose's dad?
Well, honestly, he gave me like the same vibes as fuck of the brother. I forgot what his name was. Oh, as we just
Jeremy.
talked
Jeremy.
about Jeremy. They kind of like remind me of the same person, except like the dad is just older. Um, I don't know why. Like the dad, I feel like was also. I mean, he was trying to be the whole goofy, I'm open minded dad, but I also feel like you can also tell like underneath that that's not really like the type of person he was. Um, he was definitely he just seemed very fake throughout the whole thing. Like, I mean, obviously, all he cared about was about the bodies and being able to switch over the brains and stuff. Um, but like, I don't know. He also gave me, I guess, like little bitch vibes. I don't know. Like, I can see why his kill was just kind of like he just stabbed him and that was it. Um, like borderline, he just seemed kind of like irrelevant to be honest. Cause I mean, like the mom does the hypnotizing. Rose brings them in, and then Jeremy and like the dad are just the doctor. I guess he does like the whole transplant thing, but I don't know. I just feel like I don't know. He just seemed very like insignificant to me, but I feel like that's just like because of the personality that was coming off. I guess.
What about you, Tuan? What are your thoughts on Dean?
The dad is definitely um was definitely like interesting because he's just that generic like middle aged like white liberal dude that like I feel like all of us have encountered once or more. The whole like I would have voted Obama for a second term. Like um they're just trying to what's the word, like kind of cope, like not cope with us a bit, but also they still have like their own like I don't want to say morals, but they still have like their own um
It's like it's like they aren't racist, but they still want a little divide here and there. Like we don't hate
Yeah,
you, but we still want to be like above you type of thing. They're still better than
yeah. It's kind of it is kind of like it is always like kind of low key a bit, like about like their intentions and everything, but um because like they seem to be on the side of us, like they have that like allyship, I guess you could say, but they still have those kind of like slip ups and everything that makes you question, like, are you really what you say you are? Like it just it wasn't it doesn't always like hit, I guess you could say. But he definitely like gave that vibe, and just the things that he was doing and was trying to like, in a sense, like I guess butter Chris up a bit, and by making himself seem less racist, and also try to make the situation itself that they were in not seem racist, like actually abducting black people and like taking them of their independence to like pass them off as newer people with white brains inside of them, and um like that's more fucked up than like other like racism and stuff. So it's like they're trying to like he like people like him will like cope with the fact that what they're doing isn't as bad as everything else though, and it it really doesn't make sense in the like long stretch of things, um especially the fact that you literally had an auction for this man.
and the symbolism in that was insane.
No, for real.
And one of the old I forgot to mention this, but one of the old white guys was like, "Black is in fashion." I was like, "When? When? When was black ever in fashion?" A few black people have got lucky enough to be like on the mainstream, but like I don't overall. I don't think black was in fashion, old man.
I'll agree. Well, I'll agree a little bit. I guess you could say like I would say black culture and all that
It
stuff.
definitely is.
Like since that is like I guess that like that's in my mind that's what they're probably pertaining to, like black
It
culture,
is
like athleticism and like stuff like that.
the
Like
talent and stuff like that.
yeah, and that's all. But that's all they're seeing though. Like in this movie, that's all they're seeing. Like
And,
they're seeing that.
and it's all within this community, so they're getting to be black in this community. But what happens when y'all take this blackness out into the actual world outside this community? Then you're gonna be like, oh shit, like
Like
I
I'm
guess
still me. Like it's not just being black. It's like I forget what the word is for it, but it's like I guess it's just like learned behavior. It's not like, oh, you're black now you're immediately like us. And it's like no, it's like learned behavior over
because
time.
they're gonna take these new bodies with their old white mindsets into the real world and be like, oh shit, this doesn't work. I can't act like I used to because I'm in a black body, and that comes with different consequences.
Yep. Which
I think
always
also,
which is definitely why I said. Oh no, you go, Maria.
but a lot of times, like they just don't care. All they saw was the success of like black people and like the things that they like couldn't do and other people can do, and they decided to steal that.
But Maria, what are your thoughts on Missy, the mom, the creepy cup wielding mom?
Well, shit. I mean, she was weird too. She was just like her daughter. They were both weird. Um,
She was very
right?
stale.
Yeah, just very like. I mean, her whole thing was just the whole like teacup stuff, which I get. That's she's a psychologist or whatever it was. I mean, she wasn't creepy the way like the grandparents were, but she was weird. I feel like she was weird, especially when she was like, forcing Chris to talk about like his mom, which I feel like I don't know if I was put in that situation and me being Chris, I don't I don't know. Like I would have kind of like pissed me off because it's like you're a psychologist and you're forcing me to talk about my feelings. Like no, I'm not doing that. Um, But yeah, I mean,
Very inappropriate, her questions too. I was like, bitch, back up.
yeah, she just seemed very very forward, which I mean, I get because they were trying to take his body, but yeah, she was weird.
Tuan.
Yeah, the mom definitely was weird, and like just yeah, like I mentioned, that was one of my favorite scenes. Like she initially like got Chris to um she got like Chris to go into the sunken place. Like just her acting was like her acting was like really good in that scene, and she came off as like trying to be helpful in that, but in the same instance, it's just like how Rose did at the end, like came off as helpful, but then that same instance, like immediately like switched tones and was like more serious and trying to like go like instill like her own like stuff in Chris so that he would be better for them. So I guess like yeah, like you guys said, they're more they're more alike than we thought than like you would think on the surface.
Tuan, what are your thoughts on Rod?
Rod is the motherfucking goat of this movie. Like, like he was the good comedic relief that we needed, and it wasn't like overdone. Like the pockets that we got of Rod were really good in this movie. I think the best scene was when he was talking to Rose on the phone, like asking where Chris was, like put him on the phone, and then she started like trying to like talk to him. As if like he was trying hitting on her and stuff like that. And he was like, "Girl, what the fuck are you talking about?" Like Rod was definitely the goat of this movie, and he was gonna make sure that he got his boy back by any means necessary. And he's the character that we all wish were in like horror movies in like situations like this. He's that one character, like when stuff happens, like you probably think to yourself like, "Where's their friends? Like, why is nobody checking up on them?" Like, he's that character that we all would probably be in like scenarios like this, especially if you have like a friend that's like dear to you and they're going into a situation that they're unsure of, and you want to make sure they're good. And he was even though it was like you know comedic the way that he went about it, he was still like putting in the research, like looking into it and connecting some of the dots. And even though he wasn't like 100% right that it was like a sex slave ring, like damn near probably it was kind of close. Like I'm pretty sure they were having sex with those bodies that weren't they were having sex with those bodies that weren't theirs. But yeah, Rob was the goat. He came through, and TS motherfucking A solved the crime.
What about you, Maria?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything what Tuan said. Like, he was, I think, out of the whole movie, like, I mean, I mean, he was funny and it like helped the movie a lot. But it's like, yeah, like I wish I had a friend like Rod who kept checking up on me, was making sure I was okay, who brought like a whole cop car to come pick me up in the middle of nowhere. Like, um, he's definitely like the voice of reason in the movie. Definitely, um, yeah, I mean, it was just great that he knew that something was up just based off what Chris was telling him, and he was like, "Yeah, like this is weird." And as soon as his friends stop responding to him, he goes to the police, which makes sense. I feel like that's a very normal reaction. Like if somebody I knew was missing, I'd be like, "I'm going to the fucking police." Like, so something's up, something's crazy. These people are crazy. And then but I don't get how. So did he go with cops or did he steal a cop car or
It was a TSA car.
it was a TSA car? Even better. Like I
Yeah,
don't know. Like I
It
wish
said airport on the side.
I don't even. I didn't even read that. But yeah, like and honestly, I'm glad that Jordan Peele decided to end it that way because it's like a huge like fuck you to Rose and to her family. Like you guys are not getting away with this, and it's just great to see
The
Chris.
theater reaction to that scene was amazing.
oh my god, I was clutching my fucking seat. I was like, no fucking way.
because everyone was expecting for that white bald headed cop, who was kind of cute by the way. We was all expecting him to get out the car, but as soon as we saw Rod, when I tell you
Yeah.
the entire theater started to scream, yell, and clap, like oh my god, it was like ooh, thank God.
It's even crazier when you consider that was like the original ending too.
Yeah, because it was originally supposed to end with him going to prison, but I'm so glad that he changed that.
Yes, I would have been so fucking mad if he went to jail. That would have been the darkest fucking ending for any movie. Cause like after all the shit, I would have been so fucking mad.
I'm glad he went with the Rod saves the day ending because that's what this movie needed. But what this movie did not need was Chris's crazy ass girlfriend. So Maria, what are your thoughts on Rose?
I think Rose is like a psychopath, a sociopath, all of those really crazy things. But it's like she was nuts. Like she honestly, I feel like she did such a good job of like acting like the sweet girlfriend, the girlfriend who who's there for him and sticks up for him and like thinks about him. And it's like this whole time she was just trying to like ripen him up in order for them to kill him. um and I just thought it was like I don't know, she was nuts. She was crazy. Like I think like the first couple, like no, like I mean, in the beginning, she just seemed very nice, and then to see her switch so fast, like the actress did a really good job of that because it was crazy. Like I was surprised. I was shocked. I was like, no way. I mean, I kind of knew it because there's no way that your family is weird and not you're not weird. But but that scene was was really good.
I'm gonna cut this out, but I have to say I love it when you always prepare when you compare the characters to like food in some way. It's always super funny.
What did I say? What food thing did I
Trying to
say?
ripen him up, trying to ripen him up, like because when I was uploading all the episodes on YouTube, I got to that point where you're like, yeah, she's like tofu. I was like, what? It's like tofu. Oh, Jesus Christ. Tuan, what are your thoughts on Rose?
Yeah, that bitch was crazy. Like, a thing about Rose is that she definitely perfectly embodies that liberal kind of white girl whose like family is you know a little bit like maybe it might be like a little bit racist, but like they'll still like cope with it a bit, but date outside their race and everything, knowing that like their family acts like this and like bring like these people who are like of other races into like their family to like interact with them and stuff. So it was definitely like giving that like a lot. And but then once we reach the end and find out like what's going on, you just see that she's just like as indebted to that as the rest of them are, and even more so because you brought them there and knew what was going to happen, and you decided to like fully put yourself into this and um like take these people well, not take them against their will because they willingly went to the house, but put them in a situation where you know what was going to happen to them and like get basically take their independence and everything away from them and stuff like that. And I think one thing I wanted to know is how old Rose was, because Rose
Right?
she's in a lot of relationships judging off those pictures that we saw, and
But I
considering that
think I
you go.
think they only last like 3 to 6 months though.
Yeah, which that's still a lot though.
That means she has she's dating like 2, 3 people a year.
And I'm wondering, like, is there crossover or something? Like, is she dating multiple at once? Because we know that Andre, at least, was 6 months ago to the point where we started the movie, or where we were in the movie. And I'm assuming if his kidnapping was 6 months ago, like in the movie time, and she probably started dating Chris right after. Like, yeah, it was probably like 6 months or whatever. So, like, that's crazy. Like dating like half the year. Like they do the procedure, then you go scout like she was for
I
somebody else
think
to
I
go
think
for.
it probably was crossover because they were. I mean, because Rod did know of Andre, so she was probably kind of like seeing them both, and kind of was just like she's probably like seeing Chris at the tail end of it's time to go get Rod, go turn Andre in.
Yeah, probably. So that was interesting. But the actress herself, I think her name is like Allison Williams, something like that.
Yep,
Um,
she's Brian Williams' daughter. Brian Williams, that guy. Mm.
who is Brian Williams?
He was a news anchor on NBC. He was a big deal for a while until people found out that he lied about some big story about him being in a helicopter that was shot down in the Iraq War, but all that turned out to be a lie. He held on that lie for like 10 plus years. And every time he talked about it, he was in more and more peril in the situation. But turns out none of it was true. He
Oh,
wasn't
that's
in the
crazy.
helicopter that was shut down. Yep. So that's who her daddy is.
Oh, that's wild. What the fuck?
Yep.
um, but I would say like she definitely like sold the fuck out of like her performance in this one and like the switch up that she had. And I would say I like her as an actress. Like she's hasn't been in many things. I do remember her in this other Netflix movie called, it was like a horror movie called The Perfection. It was kind of mid, but like she was good in it. And also she's in Megan. We love Megan, right?
Honestly, I don't really
I
like her
haven't
as
seen
an
it yet.
actress.
What'd you say?
No,
Go
she.
ahead.
I said I don't really like her as an actress. I've seen the Perfection. I like it. I like the movie. I thought it was nuts. I've also saw Megan. I don't know, just something of the way she acts. I just don't like.
Confession, I've only seen her in this.
The
I haven't seen her in
Perfection
anything
is a
else.
decent. I would say The Perfection is decent. It could be something decent to discuss for this. It is a horror movie. It's like psychological horror.
I mean, because I know she was like a big deal because she was in Girls. I've never seen Girls.
Yeah, that's the main thing that I like. I won't say I know her from because I haven't watched Girls, but I remember her being in that show.
Yeah, so this is the only thing I actually like know her from. But if she's anything like her dad, she can probably act well. He got away with it, so yeah.
Well,
But I don't know. I think for me, the thing about Rose that stands out is like the flip. Once you know she's in on it and you see her real personality, it's like, oh, this bitch is insane. Because when she's with Chris at the
actually, no,
beginning,
for
leading
real.
up to it, like she's bubbly, she's cute, she's adorable, and it's like, okay, her family's weird, but she's cool. She's cool. And then that flip happens, and she's just like blank and dry and stale and like monotone. It's like, how the fuck this bitch is actually crazy because that personality change is like out the fucking world. She probably would have got me too. But Tawan, what are your thoughts on Chris?
Chris was a good protagonist because he was questioning everything like that needed to be questioned in this movie, and like things just weren't playing in his favor though. Like certain things like Georgina unplugging his phone, or trying to take a picture of like Andre to see like what we could find out on him, like because he said he kind of recognized him and things like that. Like Chris was like a good protagonist because he he didn't act stupid. Like, obviously he's in a situation where he didn't know anyone, and like, those situations can be just weird on its own, especially as, like, if you're a person of color, like, coming into a situation where it's mostly like a white crowd, and you tend to be the odd person out, but you also don't want to be like super weird about it as well, to like make yourself even feel even like more like isolated, I guess. And like, he also liked Rose, so he wanted to make a good impression, like, for her family and stuff, but like, he recognized, and Rose knows that her family is weird, and he was just trying to like cope with it as much as he could, so that the weekend could be over and he could get back to his life with her in the city or whatever. So all that, like, in context, like, you kind of get like the way that he was acting, but um he was smart about the way that he was like going about things, and he wasn't just he wasn't just trying to let things happen to him. Like, he tried to, like, when we get in those situations in these movies, like, the character, you're like yelling at the screen, like, why don't y'all fucking leave? Like, as soon as something was like weird, he was like, okay, Rose, it's time to go. Like, let's go back home. We can, I don't know, visit your family another time. They come visit us next time. Like, let's just go back home. Like, I'm uncomfortable here, let's go. And like, we know as the audience, like, they weren't going to let him leave, or he wasn't going to get a chance to, but just the fact that he was actually like trying to get out the situation because he felt uncomfortable was just, you know a whole bunch of difference from other movies and stuff, where you're like, why don't y'all just leave? Like, no one's forcing you to stay here. So he tried to do it, he couldn't get out. And also, just in general, Daniel Kaluuya's acting was just really good in this role. The scene, like, once again, when he got put into the sunken place and you just saw his face, like, with that singular tear, like, that shit was crazy. It's like an iconic scene right there. I see that like all the time on like posts on Instagram about like good horror movies and everything. Um, and also, he has really like, it's just like side. He has a really good American accent for someone that's British. Like, I would have never thought he was British just looking at him. The only reason I knew that because I used to watch that show Skins, and I remember him being on it.
I loved him in Skins. I also loved him in Black Mirror, which is why I was like,
Oh yeah,
okay,
that too.
yeah, I'll give this a chance for him.
I always forget about that episode.
That's actually one of my favorite ones.
But yeah, I think that's all I have to say about Chris.
But Maria, what are your thoughts on Chris?
I mean, I agree. I thought he was a really great protagonist. He was really smart. Um, yeah, as soon as he noticed something was off, he was like, "We're gonna go." Like, I'm, yeah, because I'm glad that he questioned everything. 'Cause I feel like in a lot of horror movies, you kind of have to make the protagonist kind of dumb in order for like the movie to move along. But here, like, because it's a good movie, that I feel like you didn't really have to do that. Like, he was questioning everything. He was, gathering his own information. He was just going, with with Rod's help, he was, trying to figure out what was going on. And I thought that was really great. And yeah, I thought he was really smart. Like the scene where he put the stuffing in his ears, I would have never had thought to do that. I would have sat there and they would have switched my brain and I would have been like in some, and I would have been sharing a body with someone else. Like I would not have thought to do that. You know what I mean? Like um yeah, but he was really smart. And yeah, and I love him as an actor. I think honestly it is also one of the main reasons I watched the movie because I saw him in Black Mirror and I thought he was great, and then saw him in Get Out. But yeah, I mean I loved Chris. I thought he was a real great protagonist. He did amazing. He was smart. He tried to leave when he tried to, though. I mean, I guess what I don't know when he saw like Rose in all those pictures. I don't know why he didn't just run out himself. Then, like, I would have been like, you know what, fuck this bitch. Like, my first thought is she's probably not gonna let me leave too. I don't know why she had the keys. Um, but I would have just
He
ran out.
can't drive.
Oh, he can't drive. Oh, I forgot about
That's
that.
why he doesn't have a driver's license.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
It took me a few times watching it, and it took me watching a couple videos, but like he doesn't drive because his mom died in a car accident.
Yeah, yeah. Why would it just ran in the woods?
Same,
Like
actually. I've been the fuck.
I don't know, but like I don't know, but he was great. Like he was really smart.
I do agree with you that they usually make the protagonist dumb, but I feel like if they would have tried to do this, they would have lost the black audience because even the dumbest black person picks up on the little weird things that happen around us, especially when white people are involved. You know what I'm talking about, Tuan.
Oh
Like
yeah,
you notice the little the looks, you notice the like the sounds they make because you know it's directed towards you, so you just pick up random shit. It's like, huh, my spidey senses are sensing microaggressions and racist undertones. I need to be perked up all the time now. It's
very
like so I feel
much.
like I feel like if they would have tried to dumb him down so he wasn't picking up on that, it wouldn't have been truthful to the story that they were telling. Because it's like we notice. We might not say nothing all the time, but we definitely notice. And I think like him and Rod's friendship makes me like the character even more because you can tell that Chris is like that friend who's serious all the time, who doesn't really joke around, who's like, I gotta go to work and get shit done. And that he has a friend like Rod who's like, I'm gonna make some jokes. I'm gonna drag you out of this. It's like, okay, cool, cool. Okay, I like this. I like this. So I just think this is a good movie overall, and I think if Chris was if it wasn't actor if the actor wasn't good and if the script wasn't good and if we didn't like Chris, the entire movie would have failed.
That's true.
If it was acted poor, if it was a bad actor in this role, we all would have hated Chris. We wouldn't have been on his side. So I definitely think that like they picked the right actor and the script was good, which made it all be good. Because if you casted Chris wrong or wrote him wrong, the entire movie is trash. It's like when the Halloween remake had that whatever the fuck that Laurie Strode was, and we all hated it and hated her. And it's like we were supposed to love Laurie Strode, but you didn't get the right person to play the character, so we hate you. You know what I mean? But we are done, but not quite yet because Tawan has to give us the behind the scenes info and facts.
Alrighty. So, Get Out had a budget of 4.5 million and brought in a box office of 255.4 million. A little bit of interesting info. Get Out was inspired by a classic bit in the Eddie Murphy comedy special Delirious, where Murphy asks why white people don't just leave a house when a ghost shows up. In the Amityville Horror, the ghost told them to get out the house. Murphy riffs. Now, that's a hint and a half for your ass. If a ghost said to get out the house, I would just tip the fuck out the door. um, but according to Jordan Peele, the sunken place in Get Out represents the marginalization of Black Americans. In the fall of 2017, author I'm gonna mess up this name. I'm gonna try it though. In the fall of 2017, author Tenerive Dew taught Sunken Place, Racism, Survival, and Black Horror Aesthetic at UCLA. Peel even dropped by the class to expand on, among other things, the film's metaphorical connection to the modern prison industrial complex. Um, Originally, Peel wanted to make a statement with the Get Out ending and comment even further on the industrial prison system. The original ending had Chris strangle Rose and then cops come to arrest him. It flashes forward to Rod visiting him in prison. Rod wants to still try to find evidence to clear his name, but Chris has given up and accepted his fate. The ending is available as an extra on the Get Out DVD. Peel decided to change the ending because it wasn't fair to the audience and the movie is made with them in mind. Get Out was the first February release since The Silence of the Lambs to score a Best Picture Oscar nomination, and in 2018, Jordan Peele won the Oscar for Best Original Screenplay for Get Out, making him the first black filmmaker to earn this honor. Some critics' reactions to the movie. The film currently holds a 98% on Rotten Tomatoes. The website's critical consensus reads funny, scary, and thought provoking. Get Out seamlessly weaves its trenchant social critiques into a brilliantly effective and entertaining horror comedy thrill ride. Uprocks praised the cast and Peele's direction, saying that he brings the technical skill of a practiced horror master is more of a surprise. Rolling Stones gave Get Out a 3.5 out of 4 and called it a jolt a minute horror show laced with racial tension and stinging satirical wit. And Rex Reed included the film on his list of the 10 worst films of 2017. That's crazy.
Rex Reed has a very controversial past, so his
Yeah,
opinion is
I was about
very
to look up who that was because I have no idea who he is.
Oh, when I grabbed that one, I definitely looked it up, and he is a interesting interesting person. He's also a very old white man, so that kind of puts you where his head is at when it comes to this movie. So, but enough about Rex Reed and all of them. What about us? Do we cash or pass? Get Out, Tuan.
I definitely cash on Get Out. I feel like this, like for Peele to be a first time like horror director, like this was an amazing like way to like burst into this like scene, especially because as like fans of horror movie, we can be very picky with like the horror movies that we like watch, but to also see one that is good to us as horror fans, but also the general consensus, that's really like showed you like how good like the film was, and especially because it carried a message as well, which most horror tends to like most horror tends to um, even if it's not like on face value as it is within Get Out, most horror tends to like appeal to either like trauma or like subtext of other things, and that's why it like appeals to us in those type of ways. And the way that he was able to do that with this movie and being like his like a first time director of like a horror movie, he did a very good job with it. And now like he's created like a couple more movies like Us and Nope that have also been very good, and just shows that he understands the craft, and also is bringing back, not like bringing back, but making like good original horror movies that also feel that are good to like the fans but also the general public, which is very good. And I definitely cash on this movie and hope to see more of his endeavors, especially after Nope. I really like Nope this year, or last year.
Maria.
Yeah, I definitely cash. I feel like, yeah, when I first heard about it, I wasn't sure how to feel about a new director trying in horror, especially when you've only really seen him in comedy. But it was, I don't know, it was great, and like it was definitely like an original idea. The way it was filmed was also really good. Um, it was a really great movie, and I do like his other movies as well. I think like he definitely has a lot of ideas, and they're all very original. Like
Well, for me, it's also a cash. It's one of the very few original ideas for a movie or for entertainment in general that we've seen in a long time, and it nailed it. It's a horror movie that gives you the thrills, gives you the kills, but also makes you think. And a lot of horror is just dumb fun that has a wrapped up body count with a bunch of naked women. This one is one that made you think and made you think, and you get a kick. You get more out of the movie when you rewatch, because the more you rewatch, the more you learn about like, oh, this is why this happened, this is why that happened. So this is a good movie. This is a cash all the way. Which, yeah, this is a good movie. I like this movie. I love this movie. It's one of those movies. Like I said, I saw it several times and never gets old. And that's it. That's what we all we have today for Get Out. But next week we're reviewing Terrifier. Now I've never seen Terrifier before myself, and I've been getting a lot of mixed words about it. Some people are like, "Good luck," and "Oh, it's not that funny. It's not that scary." Other people have told me it's quite terrifying. So I guess This will be a first time watch for me. I think both Tawana and Maria have both seen it before.
I have.
Well, God help me. Hope I like it. Hope I don't pass out like everyone else did. So, join us next week to hear us review Terrifier. Good night. Goodbye. The Haddonfield Horrors podcast is a Letters to Media production.
Should we do an intro?